The year is 2025, and the world watches in horror as natural disasters unfold with terrifying frequency. The news is filled with images of destruction, despair, and the relentless power of nature. Every corner of the globe seems to be affected, with no region spared from the wrath of these catastrophic events. Hurricanes, once a seasonal threat, now roar throughout the year, leaving a trail of destruction in their wake. These storms have grown in intensity, fueled by the warming oceans and changing climate patterns. The damage they cause is not just physical, but also emotional, as communities struggle to rebuild and recover. Coastal communities, once vibrant and alive, are now haunted by the memories of monstrous storms that swallowed homes, businesses, and lives. The once bustling streets are now eerily quiet, with only the remnants of what used to be. Families are displaced, and the sense of loss is palpable. Just last month, Hurricane Epsilon, a Category 5 behemoth, slammed into the Philippines, unleashing winds that reached an unprecedented 350 kilometers per hour. The sheer force of the storm was unlike anything seen before, leaving meteorologists and scientists in shock. The storm surge, a wall of water propelled by the hurricane's force, swallowed entire villages, leaving behind a landscape of shattered homes and debris. The aftermath was a scene of utter devastation, with communities left to pick up the pieces of their shattered lives. The human toll was unimaginable, with thousands reported dead and countless others displaced. Rescue operations were launched, but the scale of the disaster made it difficult to reach everyone in need. The stories of survival and loss are heart-wrenching, highlighting the resilience and vulnerability of the human spirit. The American Midwest, once known for its rolling plains, now faces a new kind of terror. Tornadoes of unprecedented ferocity ripping through the heartland. These tornadoes, fueled by changing weather patterns, have become more frequent and more destructive, leaving a path of ruin in their wake. These swirling vortexes of wind, once a rare occurrence, now appear with alarming regularity, tearing apart farms, towns, and lives. The destruction they cause is swift and merciless, leaving communities in a state of shock and despair. The scars left behind are a stark reminder of nature's raw power and the vulnerability of human civilization in the face of such fury. The rebuilding process is long and arduous, with many wondering if they will ever truly recover from the devastation. These are not isolated incidents. They are part of a larger, more alarming trend. The frequency and intensity of these natural disasters are increasing, painting a grim picture of the future if we do not take action. As our climate changes, the planet groans under the weight of our actions, and these storms are a terrifying glimpse into a future where such events become the norm. The time to act is now, to mitigate the effects of climate change and protect our planet for future generations. The connection between these devastating storms and climate change is undeniable, backed by a growing body of scientific evidence. Scientists have long warned that a warming planet will lead to more extreme weather events, and recent years have provided a chilling confirmation of these predictions. The science is clear. As global temperatures rise due to the increasing concentration of greenhouse gases in the atmosphere, the oceans absorb much of this excess heat. Warmer ocean water provides the fuel that powers hurricanes, leading to more intense storms with higher wind speeds and heavier rainfall. Tornadoes, while not directly fueled by ocean temperatures, are also influenced by climate change. The warming atmosphere disrupts traditional weather patterns, creating conditions that are more conducive to the formation of these violent storms. Scientists predict that as the planet continues to warm, the frequency and intensity of tornadoes will continue to rise, posing a growing threat to communities in tornado-prone regions. The impact of these intensified storms is not just limited to immediate destruction. The aftermath of such events often leaves communities struggling to rebuild, with long-term economic and social consequences. Flooded neighborhoods, destroyed homes, and uprooted trees are becoming all too common sights. The increasing frequency of these storms also puts a strain on emergency services and disaster response teams, who are often stretched to their limits. The economic cost of these disasters is staggering, with billions of dollars in damages each year. Moreover, the human cost is immeasurable, with lives lost and families displaced. The psychological impact on survivors can be profound, leading to long-term mental health issues. Addressing climate change is crucial to mitigating these impacts. Reducing greenhouse gas emissions, transitioning to renewable energy sources, and implementing sustainable practices are essential steps. Communities must also invest in resilient infrastructure and effective disaster preparedness plans to better withstand and recover from these intensified storms. The challenge is immense, but the stakes are too high to ignore. By taking action now, we can help protect our planet and future generations from the devastating effects of climate change and intensified storms. The time to act is now. Together, we can make a difference. The future of our planet depends on the choices we make today. Let's work together to create a sustainable and resilient world for all. Scientists predict that as the planet continues to warm, the frequency and intensity of tornadoes will continue to rise, posing a growing threat to communities in tornado-prone regions. The time to act is now. Together we can make a difference. The impact of these intensified storms extends far beyond the immediate devastation, leaving lasting scars on the environment, economies, and human lives. The sheer force of these natural disasters can reshape entire landscapes, altering coastlines and erasing habitats that have existed for centuries. Coastal ecosystems, already stressed by pollution and habitat loss, are further ravaged by the onslaught of powerful hurricanes. These fragile environments, which serve as crucial buffers against storm surges, are often left in tatters, unable to recover quickly. Coral reefs, vital nurseries for marine life, are pulverized by storm surges, while coastal forests are stripped bare by ferocious winds. The destruction of these natural barriers not only affects marine biodiversity, but also leaves coastal communities more vulnerable to future storms. The economic toll of these disasters is staggering. Entire towns can be wiped off the map, with homes, businesses, and infrastructure reduced to rubble. The financial burden of such destruction is immense, often requiring years of investment and aid to rebuild. Hurricane Epsilon alone is estimated to have caused billions of dollars in damage to infrastructure, agriculture, and businesses in the Philippines. The agricultural sector in particular suffers greatly, with crops destroyed and farmland rendered unusable. The cost of rebuilding after such catastrophic events places a heavy burden on already struggling economies, hindering development and exacerbating existing inequalities. The resources needed for recovery are often scarce, leading to prolonged periods of hardship for affected communities. But it is the human cost that is perhaps the most heartbreaking. The emotional and psychological toll on survivors is profound, with many experiencing trauma that can last a lifetime. The loss of loved ones, homes, and a sense of security can be devastating. The loss of life, homes, and livelihoods leaves deep emotional scars on individuals, families, and communities. The process of salvaging what little remains and rebuilding lives is fraught with challenges and heartache. The trauma of surviving such events can have long-lasting psychological impacts, while the displacement of communities disrupts social fabric and cultural heritage. The support systems that people rely on are often fractured, making recovery even more difficult. In the face of such adversity, the resilience and solidarity of affected communities become crucial in the journey towards healing and rebuilding. The link between human activities and climate change is irrefutable. The burning of fossil fuels for energy, deforestation, and unsustainable agricultural practices release massive amounts of greenhouse gases into the atmosphere, trapping heat and driving global warming. The consequences of our actions are becoming increasingly evident in the form of more frequent and intense extreme weather events like hurricanes and tornadoes. The choices we make today will determine the severity of climate change and its impact on future generations. We can choose to continue on our current path, fueling the cycle of destruction with our insatiable appetite for fossil fuels and unsustainable practices, or we can choose a different path, one that prioritizes sustainability, conservation, and a future where humans and nature can coexist in harmony.